Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday, June 24th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. Start with the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
the Republic
for which it stands, for God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Just a few announcements for your information. Your emergency exits, should you need them, are on your left and right in this room. The restrooms are out back and to the left. And please, if you haven't, be sure to sign the attendance sheet at the back of the room on the table, even if you're presenting an application. There are business cards back there with contact information for the planning department, and also copies of any resolutions that we will be reading tonight, along with a copy of the agenda. Please silence your cell phones so you don't disrupt the meeting, and take any and all conversations amongst yourselves out into the hallway, and close the doors so you don't distract or interrupt those presenting to the board. Thank you. Meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read the April 28th minutes? Any comments for Lisa? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve meeting minutes.
I'll move.
Joe moves. And Al seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting minutes are approved. We just received in our correspondence from the Klein Road residents regarding the Timberview Estates. Lisa has a copy for you all here. And well, I know you haven't read it yet, but we will be trying to address some of those issues as we discuss that letter this evening in the project. Committee updates. Jen Tipton, is she here? Nope. Okay. So Keith Maynard, Planning Board update.
Good evening. Councilwoman Tipton will be here. She just ran a little bit late. She had a meeting in the village. She sends her apologies. Again, Keith Maynard, project manager for the town of Victor. Your next planning board meeting is Tuesday, July 14th at 7 p.m. And the only new item is 825 Phillips Road parking lot expansion. Applicant is requesting approval to expand the parking area with 40 new parking spaces in addition to the existing 26 spaces that are located along the north side of the building. And that is a public hearing, plus obviously all the carryovers you've been looking at. Any questions on that? Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Keith. Okay, first item on the agenda this evening, Vasta site plan modification. Public hearing is closed on this one. Applicants requesting approval to modify the approved site plan from 2020 with revisions to include paved areas that was installed, the current parking layout and drive aisles, and landscaping and screening changes and stormwater system changes. So you're up. Good evening.
Good evening. Todd Markovich, APD Engineering. Obviously, we've been in front of the board for some time now, and you should have received some revised plans here within the last week or so addressing some of the final concerns. I think one of the last ones we had received was in relation to the fuel storage tank, which at this time Max has indicated that it has been removed from the property. So that was one of the last outstanding comments that was really one of the discussion points. I don't know if the board has any other questions or items they'd like to talk about the revised plans. I know there's, there were a number of other comment letters. Kyle Twombly from our office, last time he appeared, he kind of went through the last response letter verbally, and then we had submitted responses in writing here within the last week or so. And again, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to review those, but certainly happy to go through those right now, or if there are any particular questions.
Thanks. I was looking at the revised site plan. Was that elimination or removal of the diesel tank a recent thing? Because it shows it as being relocated, still on the plan that we have from
So,
2618.
yeah, there's a probably more recent one.
I'm looking at 618.
We have a 623, and again, I apologize if it hasn't gotten to your hands.
Lisa may have updated the Dropbox, and I probably didn't download that one.
Oh, it did update
Yeah.
this morning.
So on that set of plans, on the existing conditions map, C1, we're indicating that the existing diesel above ground storage tank be removed, and then it does not show on the site plan. So,
Okay, any questions from the board? Al, want to start with you?
No questions, but just a comment that, again, the intent is on the depiction of the proposed site plan is, like, that defines what can be there and anything else can't be. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. Right, I mean, we've defined parking spaces and storage locations, and that's, the intent is that's the limit of that activity.
understood, yes, and we've been working with Max to definitely define those limits, what will be where.
Yep, and then just a comment, again, good to see some of the site improvements, that you're undertaking currently that are making progress, so hopefully that continues. That's it, Joe.
Okay, thanks, Al. Yeah, I'm sort of conferring with Lisa a little bit on the plan drawing that she has. Also, is the latest revision is 618 and shows the diesel tank to be relocated, but I guess there's more current drawing as well.
Is that plan is the most recent one they sent? Is that show it up there?
So that is the C1.
I can't see.
Yeah, my eyes are no longer as good as they used to be.
The most recent plan was given to the code officer, and he did,
You noted that?
he's okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Joe, any comments, questions? Okay. Scott?
I guess I have a couple comments. When you were last here, we spoke about landscaping, and one of the code comments that came up, item number 7, said the original approved site plan required the planting of trees and has never occurred as a natural landscaping screen, and your response is that you're going to put soil underneath the fence, I think. I was looking on your plans to see if there were any proposed plantings, but I don't see anything. Is the soil under the fence your best attempt at landscaping?
No, I think, if you go back to some of the prior responses, the property owner here has installed basically the fence to screen the entire property, at least the rear of the property, in lieu of those trees. And that was the, again, to try to address that concern of the screening, basically, instead of the 3 trees, I think it was, along that north property line. In our opinion, the fence will provide a much, certainly a better aesthetic than 3 trees will.
I'm not saying that they both couldn't work together simultaneously and provide an even greater level of buffering. I guess another question I had was on the proposed use. There are many proposed uses for here. One use that I noticed in the prior condition before you arrived back in the planning board here, over the last few years, there have been automobile sales along the street. I think that's a commercial activity, and I don't think that's permitted in a light industrial zone. I just wanted to make sure that that was not part of the intended use, nor part of the approval that you're seeking.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's correct, okay. Has codes acknowledged your responses, and are they satisfied with your responses?
So
Go ahead.
code did respond later this afternoon.
Okay.
With their response and with the updated, with the fuel tank being removed, Frank did say he was okay, but it wasn't until late this afternoon. So code is okay as of right now.
I don't think I have any more questions. My overwhelming comment since the beginning is that it's It's a small site with a lot of uses that are proposed, a lot of congestion. I think if the uses were reduced, there'd be more room to do what you need to do with less clutter and less conflict between the uses, as we saw in our field visit. That's my comment, and those are my questions.
Okay, Trish?
Your response, comment 9, the front parking area is intended for temporary customer drop-off and pick up only. Could you clarify specifically, because when I drive by, it seems like there's always cars right up to the road. Is that the temporary parking, and how will that be addressed during the workday, the parking?
Max, do you want to respond? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
So yes, right now it's a little more congested than it should be once we get the side of the parking lot done and the rear, which will bring more cars towards the back and not in the front. But sometimes cars do end up being in the front while we work on them. If you drive by right now, there's only 2 cars out front, and they're right by the overhead doors. So when I close at night, I make sure that everything gets moved from the front parking lot as best as I can.
Tricia, the picture up on the screen was taken 2 days ago. So,
Right. I know, that's why I was, because the response said that front parking area is intended for temporary customer drop-off and pickup. Like, I think of it like if I'm going to like drop off my car to get a repair, they put it up front for a little bit and then they move it. Vehicles using the front parking area will be moved behind the fence to a storage area north of the pole barn by the end of the business day. So I was just trying to figure out, do that, like when people are bringing their cars, or they're there all day, but then the plan is that by the end of the night, they're moved, or are they moved throughout the day? Are you trying to keep it clear? I'm just trying to understand that.
I do move
Because
them
obviously
all,
that's-
I'm out there veiling the parking lot all day long. Sometimes there's a couple cars extra. Yeah, that was a busy day. But at the end of that day, all those cars were gone. I'm not any different than CDI that parks their cars when they have a busy day all the way up into the grass. Or across the street when they have tournaments and they're, parked everywhere. I keep the parking lot very clean. Yes, during the day, there's no guarantee how many cars are going to sit in one spot, but they're all in and out cars. They're not there to be stored in the front.
Yeah, I think the intent is not to have cars there overnight or parked long-term. It would be, if he's working on one vehicle in the garage and somebody dropped the vehicle off, it may be there an hour, it could be there half an hour, it could be there maybe 4 hours, depending on the turnover of those cars.
So it's not really a customer drop-off pickup location, it's more of an overflow? I mean, I'm just trying to understand the language of this, because the way I interpreted the response, I saw this as like a, customers are coming in, they're dropping it off, and then this is really more of an overflow? Is that how I should interpret that?
Well, Max, correct me if I'm wrong, but, he has basically one bay to work on cars. So if he has a couple of cars there for the day, 2, 3, 4 cars, he would work on one, and there'd be a couple stored temporarily in the parking lot until he rotates the cars in and out, fixes them, and people pick up and drop off. So the language, the phrasing, I apologize if it was confusing, is just more, the car is going to come in, it's in line to get serviced, it gets service, it goes out, someone picks it up. So the car could be there for maybe half an hour until he pulls it in, and maybe it sits there for an hour or 2 hours until someone picks it up. So it's continuously moving. So to speak.
Are you moving towards a system once you do the upgrades to try to alleviate that congestion up front so that that is not an overflow area, instead more of a drop-off pickup area?
I guess I don't understand what the difference is, but yes, once the side is more, where it's done where I can park cars in the back, a lot of those wouldn't be in the front. Yes.
So I guess the difference for me would be that, it's seen more so as, cars coming in and dropping off and picking up as a temporary spot, as this is listed as temporary customer drop-off.
Right, so
Whereas
I'm
where
not
the
gonna-
backup may become, let me finish, please. what the backup may become is if it's being used more so as an overflow space, I think that problem may never become solved unless there is a plan in place to, you know, as cars are being dropped off, that there's a system in place for cars to, you know, be put into a place after they are brought to the temporary location. It's just something I think that needs to be thought through in order to alleviate what we're seeing and, you know, make it, you know, I think more conducive.
So
use of your
the
space.
officer that took the picture that didn't want to come and talk to me, that was like at 9 o'clock in the morning, maybe it was 9:30, when everybody's bringing their cars in. If he would have came and talked to me and said, hey, what's going on, looks a little busy, then he would have understood what's going on there a little better. So we're working on the house, so there's extra cars from people that are working on the house. I'm working in the back, so a lot of stuff that I'm moving around in the back is sitting in the front because I can't work on the side parking and the back parking when there's cars there. So yes, it looks very busy right now, and sometimes I can't help it. But what I do is I move cars around all day long to make sure that cars aren't all the way up by the road. But sometimes when you guys decide to come and take pictures, that's what you see. But if you actually drive by now, my landscape is beautiful. Yeah, I will be putting a couple more trees where I just took one down. That's not a big deal. But I keep my place very nice and clean. I just don't understand.
I'm simply bringing to the attention that in this language of being temporary customer drop-off, I think that if that's really the goal of that area as identified in the response in comment 9, I'm just saying that as the space is clarified. I
So
think
my
putting
my
this-
goal is never to tow a car in that's all smashed up and leave it sitting there in the front. That'll never happen. But those cars that you see, our customer cars are going in and out all day long. So 2 hours from there, that whole picture changed.
Right.
I think that's maybe when we said temporary, you know, again, throughout the day, it will look
There
different.
won't be a car jacked up waiting, just sitting there looking ugly. That won't happen. So everything in the front is the day stuff. And I will try my best to move a lot of them towards the back once the parking lot is done on the side. But my goal is to be busy, so,
And I understand that. I'm just saying, as you're moving in that direction and clarifying the space, I think part of that has to become that thought of making that more of a temporary, as the space is conducive for you to have a process in place.
yeah, and I'm trying,
I wanted to
like,
point that out as something think
I
is
spent
important.
hours out front moving cars, so you guys are happy, but it doesn't seem anything that I do there is ever happy for this board.
I think that the comments you may hear from board members, different members are more an assurance of how the site is, to understand how the site's being used. I don't think there's a criticism that your temporary parking makes sense.
For the past
Well,
5 years.
You're not, okay,
I've been criticized for the past 5 years.
I think.
And this has all happened. You made a comment on why it's taken me so long to get this done. I had the Victor code enforcement officer come and give me a C of O with no restrictions. So as far as I knew, I was done with you guys. I'm not the one that gave myself a C of O for the place. So instead of taking pictures like that and serving me with a book of different pictures that I was doing wrong, and we could be more of a community and say, hey, Max, this, I know you got a C of O, but certain things didn't get done. I would have been more than happy a long time ago to address some of this stuff, and I've been trying to address everything, but every other week, we have the same stuff. The last 2 weeks, you frankly said that the place looks like an eyesore. Drive up and down Phillips Road and tell me that that's not the cleanest eyesore that I see on Phillips Road. Because there's If you think that's an eyesore, then you guys put blinders and don't drive anywhere but Phillips Road at 681 Phillips Road. So I don't know if it's my neighbor that's, you guys are trying to please, or somebody else, but all I've done is try to make that look better and better. You guys actually came there. I don't know what you guys were expecting, but the best I got out of you guys is, boy, it was really an eye opener. Because I had a couple things stored. I don't store oil outside. There's nothing dirtying up the property. Because my business is cars, is that any different than the guy down the street that has electrical wires all over their parking lot because that's what they work on? But I get picked on because I work on cars and somebody on the street doesn't like it?
Hey, Max. So in that picture, and most days last week, most of those cars were not in the spots that you've just painted that are on your site plan. Would it be helpful if those cars were parked the right way in the parking spots so that there was more parking available? I think that one of the biggest concerns in reference to the parking that the town has is when customers come and they parked in those hashed areas and closer to the road, because the cars are in the right of way and they're a safety hazard. They're right on the side of the road. Honestly, in this picture, I don't even know if you have any in those spots, but almost every day there is. If there were spots open that customers could pull into while you're working on something and you're not available to go move the cars out from the road, they'd be more apt to park in a parking spot,
There could be
right?
an empty parking lot, and my customers will drive right up to the one overhead door. 100% of my customers will not park in any of the spots you see. They'll just drive right up to the door and say, "Have a good day."
So are you
And
parking,
then I gotta go move everything.
so you're parking the cars in the hashed areas out by the
What I'm
road?
trying to explain is that I'm working in the back, we're working on the house, yeah, and it looks a little messy, but it's, I guess I don't understand, I guess I just, what I understand is I'm getting picked on. You either, this is a total pick on. When you drive around Victor and the things that I see, and I get picked on because I have some cars in my front parking lot for the day. On a weekend, there's not even a car out front. Maybe you guys should do a drive-by on the weekend and see what that property looks like. You guys keep putting that one picture with the whole mess around. That's a 6-year-old picture. You guys are still purposely putting it up there.
That is your aerial photo from Encore.
That's a
I have no
6-year-old.
other aerial to put.
We're doing this, this is the new thing, right here. This is what you should be showing, not a picture that you guys decided to do an aerial on, and you guys told me to move a bunch of stuff, and I don't have cars on the grass anymore, and I've respected as much as I could. I'm also a resident there, so I do have the right to sell cars as a private person. I just, you guys want to keep restricting. You want me to go out of business. That's what you want to do. I've been asking for a paint booth thing so I can keep going, and you guys just keep, every 2 weeks, have a new something else to keep me from moving on. I mean, this is getting to the point where it's ridiculous. You guys got me between a court and whatever, and you guys, there's so much people's time that is being wasted over all of this. Instead of just being good neighbors, and every time I go there, there's something new done. You guys came, now there's 3 sides of the house that is redone. But when you guys came 2 months ago, or a month ago, whenever it was, I was explaining how the house is going, and the only comment you guys had is, well, it's about time for a new roof. You know, yeah, I have a permit for that. We're working on that. There's never been a decent comment on anybody from this place. Great way to be a neighbor. I will bend backwards for anybody, and it just seems like that part doesn't matter. When the fire department needs some of those eyesores that you guys are so much complaining because they have training, I'm the first one that freaking tows it for nothing, not 1 penny or even want anything to wherever they want it parked. And I pick it back up. I'm a good neighbor. You guys are just giving me a hard time over nothing. How overflow on parking. Do you guys go and police the mall when it's overly busy over there? Does the quick fill gets policed when 5 o'clock hits and you can't get into one pump because they got way too many cars with people buying beer or whatever else? Do you guys police that? Why am I the only one in Victor getting policed? Because I've been in Victor for 30 years and I've rented from everywhere around there and I've never had a problem until finally I bought a freaking cheap freaking piece of land that I'm trying to do what I've done in Victor and help the community. Now there's a problem because I own my own piece of land. I've rented from everybody.
Well, we as a town are trying to have the site plan come back into compliance. It wasn't, just, let me finish. This process, this latest process for the last number of months, has been trying to work with what you've done to the site, not what was supposed to have been done back when, in 2020, you had, I think, 3 years to bring the site into compliance with that plan. Well, it's totally different. So what we're trying to do is work with you to deal with what you've got on the site rather than make you go back to the old. So I'm,
Can I respond to that?
just a minute, I'm trying to work through comments that we have from all the board members and from your intention to improve the site in a different way than what was originally approved. So that's why we're where we are. So yes, if you had another comment to that.
When I bought the property, it had a 1-lane driveway. The first thing I did is I came to town to ask how I can have the parking lot the way it is. And through your guidance, that's why the parking lot's like that. So now the person didn't have the right to tell me that, although I have a certificate that says I could have it, and blah, blah, blah. I also have a C of O with no restrictions. At no time did anybody say, you know, Max, we screwed up, we shouldn't have gave you this. We need to work a few things out. I've always tried to work things out. But it's like, you guys can't take responsibility that we're also here because you guys screwed up. So we're
wouldn't go
both at
that
the
far.
same level, but one of your code enforcement officers took them a year to give me a response through a walkthrough with the fire.
We're not going to litigate that.
Right,
at the moment.
so his question was, why am I taking so long? I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. This is the first time I ever had to build anything. You guys are the ones that should have came and said, well, we can't give you the C of O because there's still a few things missing. Your guy walked around and said, looks great, get busy. So why am I the one that I feel like I'm doing like something horrible? So instead of coming in and saying, you know, Max, you didn't do a few things, we need to work through those. No, you guys took pictures of me for a year. Literally, I got served with a ream of pictures and comments instead of just walking up to me and say, what's going on? Seems like you're just not getting that you got to get these things done.
Well,
Just disappointed.
understood. What I'm trying to do is reconcile what has been going on for the last year and what you're presenting before the board, the questions that we've had from our town engineer as well. And I think we're at a point where I know we've got a draft resolution here, and we're just trying to finish the discussion on the things that you've done that we've requested, which I appreciate, and just making sure we understand all that's on these latest plans. So,
I'm not a dirty person. The property isn't staying like that.
Understood.
But I do need to work, and I actually even went to the town supervisor, and I expressed that, and he's like, oh, I work with my commercial people, and then I got served again. So I've always come and asked for help. I've never hidden anything, but it seems like it doesn't matter, that part doesn't matter.
All right.
I've always came and talked to you guys.
Well, the resolution that we have before us puts a 90-day process. So between now and then, I'm assuming that we're looking at it as a transition. So there may be things that are temporarily shuffled around, and like you said, if you're doing in the back lot, and one of my questions, I don't know if Jennifer, you're done, or Trish, are you done?
I am.
Okay. So one of my questions was, the plan that I see in front of me, it has grayed out area on the north and east side, and it shows proposed asphalt pavement. Is that correct?
I think, yes, Max has alluded that he would do either asphalt or potentially concrete, but it would be paved.
Okay, so there's pavement that you're proposing. In the last discussion we had, I recall it was gravel, and you had asphalt millings that you were trying to remove, or
That is, yeah,
Great.
that's correct. I think a couple meetings ago, Max has agreed to basically get rid of the millings, put something in. We have a section on the plans now,
okay?
which also coincidentally abides by the variance that was approved
Mhm.
quite some time ago. So that
Okay.
was one of the conditions.
My comment was, the changes that you've made here, I agree with, and I appreciate that you're going to that level to improve your site for, parking for in behind the fencing, so that you can keep everything organized. So I did want to ask if, Wes, if you have any comments on what they've provided?
No, nothing further. We have a letter from, I think it was March of this year. I think the majority of our comments have been addressed. We need to provide a close-the-loop letter.
Yeah.
We've looked at stormwater here. I don't think we have any additional concerns. We see the French drain and to the outlet over on the south side of the building, so I think we're set.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments based on the conversations and comments that have been made? Again, I appreciate your frustration. I also appreciate that you've worked with us to update the site plan, and that we have a path forward so that you can finish and be on your way with your business as it's been evolving. So I do have if there's no objection, I have a draft resolution.
Mr.
Ari?
Chairman, can I, we had taken a look at the draft resolution when we came in, and if you don't mind, can I just
Not at all, yeah.
maybe talk about a couple of things here? So again, I'm just looking at the conditions, I guess, towards the end. The first 5 conditions.
Is this to be addressed prior to chairman's signature?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So condition number 2 there, I think, will be no longer applicable because it was the fuel tank, which has now been removed, but nonetheless, yes, we will abide to that. The only one I guess I have a question on, and I apologize if I should have had it in my files, but I don't, is number 3, Zareski and Associates reviewed the site plan in a letter dated February 16th. And I felt like we've addressed those throughout some of the responses previously, and I guess I'm maybe a little unclear if, our responses that may or may not have completely taken the action that was requested of us. I guess I would want a little clarification, what those items are that the board is maybe asking of us, in addition to what we have shown on the plans.
Well, typically, when we put these, this shall be addressed, that shall be addressed, those letters, more often than not, they're all addressed already.
So
but
I
it's
guess
more of a
that's maybe the
formality.
question is, have we addressed it already?
Okay, I know, Wes,
So Zareski and Associates is a landscape
Correct.
architect. So I have sent plans to him. I don't have a close the loop. So I don't have his final okay, so that's why I put it there. You have sent the plans in, so I'm waiting for his response.
So I guess my only question with that is, if we have that as a condition, would we have the opportunity to come back and present if we felt we needed to, we didn't agree with those final recommendations?
if there was something that
or work through Wes, or excuse me, Labella, the
Wait.
town engineer.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly would work through town engineer. I'm sure he would confer with me to see if there's something significant that we felt that the board really need to look at and address. But otherwise, I don't see your needing to come back before the board unless it was
Okay.
something major.
Okay.
So,
And if you're going down towards the ongoing conditions, number 4, again, conditions in the zoning board resolution, I believe the intent there is probably that it just be paved is my assumption. But we will take a look at that, the prior resolution, and make sure that we've got
Okay.
everything addressed. And I guess lastly, and maybe more importantly, is the very last item there, number 5. It mentions within 90 days of the signature or the endorsement of the site plan. So where Max is at right now is his intent would be to have as much of this done as he can by the fall. He's going to try. He would prefer not to have that as a drop dead date and have until the spring of next year. Would there be some consideration to perhaps maybe
That's just for the parking.
just
I
for the
can do
paving?
everything else but the parking.
So everything else, but maybe the paving, he will try to have the paving done this year. Would there be consideration to have everything else, and then maybe have the paving until the spring, which means until the paving plants are open, the weather is good? And I understand that and appreciate the board's given some leeway on some of these items, but I think, right now Max is, he's taken down the tree, he's done some of these different things, he's removed the storage tank, so hopefully with a little good faith.
I guess that the hard thing would be if you were going to wait till the spring to do the pavement. I mean, you got all this other stuff that goes on top of the pavement or next to the pavement, so you have to move it all out of there again. I would have thought that's the first thing you do is get all the grading and paving done. Then if there's, landscaping or other things that needed to get done and it didn't work out in the fall, then, those are minor. But the functionality of your site depends on how you've regraded and finished I'll call it the fenced-in area. And so I'd be puzzled that you'd have to wait till the spring to do the pavement.
Well, I can have it all prepped with stone. That's the most expensive thing that
Huh.
I don't know if I can get that done by fall or before winter. So it will be all stoned and ready to be paved in the spring if I don't. That's just something that I was never planning on paving because my plan said gravel parking. So at this point, I'm willing to just pave it, but I don't know if I can afford it.
Okay. Understood. Anybody else have any concern with that? We have something to work with that you can get done within the year, at least on that. That's, I
If
understand
something changes,
pavements.
I will be more than happy to pave it before winter because it's easier to plow, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough funds to take care of
Okay.
it.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd want to pay for asphalt right now either. So, given the cost of, maybe it's coming down, but fuel is what it is. Any other comments or thoughts from that as a response?
I would
Scott?
just say we spoke about 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Couple meetings, we talked about that, right?
So, I know it would be a way to,
So I guess one of the options would be that 90 days from the date that the plan is endorsed, that everything be completed on the site plan with the exception of the paving, if you want to provide some flexibility with the installation of asphalt pavement. Or the extension of 90 days for everything that's shown on the plan to 120 days, which takes you out to October, well, depending on when the plans get signed, that could be October or November. Or is it, what I'm hearing, the ask is that the paving be delayed maybe until the spring, right?
yeah, that's
So,
what I'm
but
hearing.
everything else you want to see in 90
Yes.
days, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
All right.
Just to clarify, would you be willing to do the stone? And then
Yeah.
just not the final asphalt or the final
Correct.
concrete?
All right, as long as the understanding is that it's going to be paved by next spring. Is that what I'm hearing?
Weather permitting, yes.
Whether, yeah,
What date
I
next
think you gotta
spring?
pick a date.
Can you, well, asphalt plants open late April-ish,
Mid-April,
so
yeah.
May?
Mid-April usually.
Okay, so June 30th, that's a year.
Yes,
Can that help?
yes.
Okay, I appreciate businesses with large expenses have to absorb all that, so. So we'll put in that piece. Let's see, all authorized site construction and required improvements shall be physically completed within 90 days. The chairman's endorsement of the site plan.
With the
With the
exception of,
exception of the asphalt pavement of the back of the enclosed area as shown on the site plan, most recent site plan?
And again, just to clarify, asphalt or concrete.
Yeah, okay. So if you wanted to put concrete pavement, that's,
He may elect to do that
Yeah,
instead, just
I-
for the weight of some of the vehicles, perhaps.
mhm, okay. Is there a town standard for concrete or asphalt pavement on a parking area?
not that I know of.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if we had to refer to that. How about the ADA parking area up front? Were you planning on paving that up?
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't want to mix up the two if you're saying no asphalt pavement or just the majority of the asphalt pavement next spring.
side and the back.
Yeah, okay. So Wes, if we put in there the asphalt pavement for the enclosed area at the north and east side of the building,
Mhm.
and everything else would be done within 90 days.
Yes,
By June 30th, 2027, right?
Yep.
But sorry, just to clarify, the ADA will be paved in the next 90 days?
Yes, that's what I was hearing.
Okay, thank you.
It makes most sense, really, because it's, you got to move your equipment, the trailer, and there was a Mustang or something there, so that has to be cleaned up for ADA parking. All right. Anything else?
I don't think so, Max.
Okay. So, as long as that's understood, I will read the resolution. So, for the Vasta Site Plan Modification, 681 Phillips Road, whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 12 of them. Whereas the Town of Victor Planning Board reviewed the unlisted action on June 24th, 2026, identified no significant impacts. Now therefore be it resolved that the project's Vasta site plan will not have a significant impact on the environment and that the negative declaration be prepared. Now therefore be it resolved that the application of Max Vasta site plan entitled Vasta Site Plan Modification, drawn by APD Engineering Architecture, dated January 28th, 2026, received by the Planning Board February 3rd, 2026, last revised June 23rd, 2026, Planning Board application 4SP 2026 be approved with the following conditions. Conditions to be addressed prior to chairman's signature on the site plan. One is standard. Number 2, Town of Victor Code Enforcement Officer reviewed the site plan in a letter dated June 23rd, 2026 be addressed. 3, Zaretsky and Associates reviewed the site plan in a letter dated February 16th, 2026 be addressed. 4, Labella Associates reviewed the site plan and provided comments, letter dated March 10th, 2026, be addressed. Number 5, the Town of Victor Stormwater Manager reviewed the site plan in a letter dated March 2026, be addressed. Ongoing conditions, site plan comply with the Town of Victor design and construction standards for land development, including Section 4. Number 2 is a standard item. Number 3, that a building permit be obtained for the construction of the paint booth. Number 4, that conditions in the zoning board resolution dated May 4th, 2020 be addressed. I'll just make a note that that includes the pavement that the applicant is now proposing for the north and east side of the enclosed area adjacent to the building. Number 5, that the site plan and all associated improvements shall be designed, construction, and fully implemented in strict accordance with the final approved plans. All authorized site construction and required improvements shall be physically completed within 90 days of the chairman's endorsement of the plan, with the exception of the proposed pavement of the areas north and east of the building enclosed by the fencing, which shall be completed, which shall be paved by June 30th, 2027. That makes Does that work?
Yes.
Okay. And be it further resolved, the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. So with those modifications, entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Joe moves,
Second.
Al seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Hey,
Opposed? One opposed?
I'm opposed.
4-1, so approved.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Phoenix Mills Plaza Shed, 300 Phoenix Mills Plaza. Applicants requesting approval to construct a 12 by 20-foot storage shed to be located at the rear of the existing building behind Auto Tomatoes. Applicants also requesting approval for string lighting on the pergola that received an area variance on December 2nd, 2024. Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Just need your name again.
Oh, okay. Wendy Santmeyer with Phoenix Mills Plaza.
So when last we met, you were putting the string of lights up and lighting them on a
Yes.
timer until 10 PM, I think it was?
Yes.
So,
Yep.
does anyone have any questions or comments on the lighting? You haven't seen it, okay.
Yeah,
Al?
I've driven by there many times, just not between the darkness and 10 PM. It's like a narrow windows.
Well, that's good, so you don't really see it. It's not, it's on.
Anyone else have been by?
I did drive by and I believe I saw the lights on. It looked like there was lights on, but it was little, I guess, a little more dimmer than I expected.
Yep. The picture here makes it look obviously very bright because we're standing right at it, but that's exactly the way it looks, what you saw.
Okay.
Yep. And it comes on every night, I think you guys said 4 o'clock to 10?
I think that's what.
Yeah, my
you had
sister was up here
said
last
it,
time,
yeah.
yes.
So, and it's, technically, it will be off when business hours are done, correct?
Right,
When the
yep.
plaza's closed for the
Yep.
evening.
It, usually business hours at the plaza are 10:30.
Yeah, and as Al said, I mean, I did go and see them, but dusk, I had to wait till like 9:30 because it's so light out.
Right.
And it's like Christmas lights. It's not a objectionable, large, bright distraction. Again, that was your biggest concern, correct, Joe? Was that it would be potentially a hazard or a distraction? Yeah. So it's like Christmas lights in somebody's front yard, really. And so I did not find them intense or objectionable. And I don't know, Scott, did you get a chance to see them?
More muted than I thought when
Yeah.
I drove by, for sure.
I didn't get a chance to see it, but I did have a question.
Yes.
Is this just going to happen, like, over the summer months? Does it happen in the winter?
No, we're going to leave them up all year long.
All year
Oh,
long?
yes.
'Cause, I mean, if you saw it in the winter, that would be a lot more,
You'll get glow, reflection from snow.
right?
That's true. And you get that with parking. Every time we see a large parking lot for a new development, we always worry about sky glow
Right.
with the
Right.
parking lights and how much intensity there might be depending on what's adjacent to it, so.
Because right now we've got longer days, right? So we don't really have a chance
Right.
to see very
So it
much.
will be dark, yes. When we think about, drove by Delta Sonic the other day, they've got some pretty good lights streaming up there, and I think these are nothing to the same.
Yeah.
Just some decorative lights, doesn't even really catch your eye, and they have been on since the last meeting. They were actually on before the last meeting too, and there was communication error or whatever, but
Yeah, okay. Regarding anything else on the lights, and Wes, did you have any comments?
No comments from the
Okay,
bell.
all right. And the shed itself, I think we were pretty good with the layout of it,
I have a couple pictures
There you
up
go.
on the slideshow. Keep going, Susie. There, those were taken.
is there a picture that, from long, looking down the drive aisle or not?
The next one, I think, was taken by Fire Marshal.
yes, I think, there you go.
All right, so it'd be right where that white vehicle is?
Yes, he parked his car right where,
Yeah, so-
about where it would end, right
Uh-huh.
there.
Yeah, so that helps a lot. It's kind of hard to imagine unless you have something, set up like that, so I appreciate his perspective. Anybody have any questions or comments regarding that? I mean, that's the only other outstanding item, I believe.
Yes.
So,
I don't have any more questions on that.
okay, Trish, anything?
No more questions.
Okay. Wes?
Nope, nothing.
All right. Well, if that's the case, and I appreciate you guys going through that with the lights especially.
Yes.
I have a draft resolution if you guys are ready. So, Phoenix Mills Shed and Pergola Lighting, 300 Phoenix Mills Plaza, whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 12 of them. Now therefore be it resolved, the application of APD Engineering Architecture PLCC on behalf of Hendler and Associates LLC site plan entitled Phoenix Mills Shed and Pergola Lighting, drawn by APD Engineering Architecture, dated March 6, 2026, received by the Planning Board April 8, 2026. Planning Board application 10 SB 2026 be approved with the following conditions. One is standard. Number two, that the comments in a letter dated April 29th, 2026 from the code officer be addressed. Ongoing conditions that the site plan comply with Town of Victor design and construction standards for land development, including section 4. Number two, that any exterior lighting being compliant to code and approved by the code enforcement officer. And number three, a building permit be obtained before the start of building construction. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. So no changes or modifications. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move.
Al moves.
Second.
Joe seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. So
Thank you.
approved.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. So the next one is Mortellaro site plan. Public hearing is closed on this one as well. County Route 41, owner Allium Acres LLC, applicants requesting approval to construct a 3-bedroom, single-family home on 88.506 acre parcel. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Glenn Thornton with Thornton Engineering, here with the owner applicant, Matt Mortellaro. We were here last month. I think the issues from last month were primarily fire protection on the 3-bedroom house, since it's 3,000 feet back from the street. There was questions about the integrity of the farm access drive that was partially constructed last year and continues this year. There's an agreement, I guess, with the fire marshal and the code enforcement officer to allow us to offer test pits in the driveway to verify the material and the thickness of the material, so that, to verify it can support fire response equipment. There was also questions about water supply to fight a fire. When we were here last time, Matt had proposed a sprinkler system in the house and the use of the existing irrigation pond with a partially constructed dry fire hydrant system for additional fire protection. That was not satisfactory to the fire marshal, so we've taken a different approach. On June 17th, we resubmitted drawings, which we haven't made any revisions to those drawings since, but those drawings depicted a second pond to be constructed within the property close to the proposed house with a dry fire hydrant system easily accessible to the fire department, close to the house with the required storage, because the fire marshal had indicated he would be applying standards from NFPA 1142, which really basically dictates the size of the water supply needed to fight a fire in rural situations such as this. And he had determined that 120,000 gallons of fire suppression storage would be required. So we designed a second pond, I call it the fire suppression pond, near the house that provides much more than the required 120,000 gallons. So when we responded on June 17th to all outstanding review comments with revised drawings, we thought we had addressed all concerns adequately. But recently, we received some additional comments. I acknowledge that I screwed up. I included the wrong standard tone detail on the drawings that Matt Heilman, the construction inspector, had requested. I included details RS6 and RS7. It should have been RS6 and RS11. So that's an easy fix. We'll just swap out a detail. But the fire marshal also had additional comments on the proposed pond, the adequacy of the fire protection water supply, and he issued those comments yesterday. I responded early this morning with responses to the comments. I haven't seen anything further from the fire marshal. This is Lisa's opportunity
Yeah,
to jump
so
in.
he did respond late this afternoon. I do have a copy for you.
Good. Is it a good copy or a bad?
It's not a good copy.
Looks pretty clean.
It's not good. It's not good.
Oh, jeez.
His response.
I did see it.
I totally do not understand his responses to my response letter, but I guess we will need to address that further with him. I only note that it would have been very nice of him to bring up these issues 2 months ago with his first review letter. Now, all of a sudden, we're seeing comments about, will this pond hold the water? You know, is the supply adequate to these ponds? I mean, there's an irrigation pond there that holds 850,000 gallons of water. Matt has all the equipment necessary to pump water from that pond. In fact, you're going to use it for irrigation. You're going to have the pumps there to pump from that pond to the pond near the house. That was put in my response letter. It appears that the fire marshal did not acknowledge that. He doesn't believe us. I'm not sure what his issues are. But it would have been very nice of him to bring up this comment about the adequacy of the supply. Will the pond hold that much water? Will it be there during the drier months? The first time we heard about this was yesterday. I'm sorry, but I had to bring that up. But I don't know where we're going tonight, but that's where we stand. I do not believe there will be any additional changes to the drawings in front of you tonight. I think all it's going to take is some further convincing of the fire marshal that what we're showing is proper and adequate.
Yeah, and I guess we're not prepared to take action unless the fire marshal's comments can be addressed to his satisfaction, and that probably means you guys get together and have that discussion.
We've tried. We've tried. I mean, we'll keep trying.
Oh, you just got the comments, so, you know, you'll have to,
Yeah, the comments are basically what he had thrown at us yesterday, and just acknowledging that he didn't accept our responses, which I thought had demonstrated that this pond will hold more than enough water, and the other pond, if there's ever a situation where we have 2 months of no rain, we have water to replenish the supply. But,
what do you mean you have water to replenish?
well, from the other pond, that holds
Well, if
850,000
one's
gallons.
not getting water from a drought, the other's not getting
They're
water.
both going to go down, so the other pond might go down to 400,000 gallons.
Oh, I see.
I mean, we've got so much water, so.
So far,
but-
that pond has filled twice because it filled over the winter and then they had to pump it down to finish the original dry hydrant and overflow, and it filled again. So it's like, you know, there's no shortage of water out there.
Okay. I think that was one of our questions at the last meeting was, you know, is there a through creek, or is it just drainage runoff?
It's just surface
Yeah.
runoff. But I mean, these are kind of defined drainage ways through the property. I've seen the property to the east during spring conditions. The amount of water that comes off of Matt's property is unbelievable. I mean, it's a river on the adjacent, I mean, a river 30 feet wide. So there's lots of water out there. We're in nothing but pure clay. We're not going to see any seepage out of these ponds. Once the water is in the pond, that's where it's going to stay.
So they're stagnant ponds, basically? I mean, that's what you're saying, right?
They are, yeah, yeah. I mean, the water's going to sit there. When the next rain event comes through, you get some movement through the ponds, but they will be stagnant water.
Yeah, I've seen other stagnant ponds in town, and they're like covered in green algae, and I don't know how that works, but,
I don't think you would let that happen.
We're certainly going to try and fight that.
okay. Any questions from the board? Joe?
None. I think this is the only unresolved issue.
Okay. Al?
No, and again, I have to believe that the intent of the homeowner is to ensure that his house doesn't burn down.
Burn down,
and There's
yeah.
adequate water to support that, otherwise you would, mitigate it, so.
And I've
Not the
seen
fire
that,
marshal, but I don't have any
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that
logical
30-foot wide river coming down
Yeah.
too, so.
It's crazy. Is this common, though? Is this common for the fire marshal to make these comments about the adequacy of ponds, or?
Yeah, I mean, when you're depending on that for your water,
I mean, on other projects, though, with fire suppression ponds and dry hydrant systems, are these common comments, or have we just
well,
got
it
on his
depends on
bad
whether
side?
they're whether he's familiar, I guess. I can't speak for him, but I would want to know where the water's coming from and how it's being stored and
Sure.
what's the flow through, and I
I
think that,
agree, but has he done that on every other project that has proposed?
well, honestly,
construction of a-
I can't
a
remember
fire
more than one or
suppression
two
pond?
other fire suppression ponds in my tenure at 25 years here on the board, so.
Okay.
There's been other instances where Labella has asked for that type of information in terms of how do we know, give us proof that the pond is going to have water throughout the seasons, and are you going to line the pond, right? That's been a question for past applicants too. And so I think we just want some assurance that the excavation is going to hold water, right?
I think Bob's comment, I'm sorry, I'm obviously not the fire marshal, and I've only heard bits and pieces of this internally. Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Bob's comment was he needed, if you were going to go do something different from what he said needed to be done per the state code, you needed a letter from a fire suppression engineer or a fire protection engineer saying it was okay. Am I right on that, Lisa? I'm pretty sure that's what he was looking for.
Yeah, that was kind of his comments back. He wants to defer to a fire protection engineer. So,
So I assume you're not a certified fire protection engineer,
I don't
Glenn?
even know what that means. If somebody can explain that to me, what is it? Does a fire suppression engineer, he might design sprinkler systems. Does he design ponds and look at hydrology and things? I doubt it, but we'll find somebody. We'll try to satisfy the fire marshal.
Fire
We'll do our
marshal may
best.
have someone that he's seen and approved of their work. He could refer you to he's not going to recommend them, but he's going to say, here's another guy that, whatever. So that's the best I can do at the moment.
We'll do our
Scott?
best.
I don't have any other comments, but I do recall we had a conversation last time about wastewater system and DOH involvement.
Yes.
And I believe that they are required to take a look at alternative systems, and I also heard through the grapevine that Kendall's no longer there.
Yeah, what happened is we got caught here when Kendall left. He left everything to do to Cecilia.
Right.
And I've contacted her, and she's had the plans now over a month.
Yeah.
And she hasn't even opened them up yet. In fact, she told us, she says, I won't get to them this week or next week.
Yeah,
So,
they've got some issues over there.
Where is this?
well, you talked to Kendall,
Okay.
obviously. Yeah.
That's all I have.
So I'm not an expert either on fire protection ponds, but I will say one thing. I have a pond in my backyard that is clay. And we actually have an underground river somehow under my property that we have a well that taps into into the water. So we have unlimited water, and we have to run that every spring for weeks and weeks and weeks to fill it because the groundhogs get in there and they eat holes in the clay. And we watch our pond go down many feet when that happens. And so we've actually had to bring clay in. So and I'm not an expert, and I don't know if that's going to impact your pond or not, but if we did not have a unlimited river that happened to be next to our property that we can turn on the spigot and fill, we would have problems. And so I'm not saying you're going to have problems, because I know where your property is, and I know there is that water stream that goes through. And I don't know if there's any way you could tap into any kind of water. But I'm just pointing out that for our property, that's been an issue. If we didn't have that, my pond would be very, very low all the time, because we deal with these groundhogs all the time. So,
Understood.
I'm not an expert whatsoever. I'm not saying you're going to have that problem.
Well, I'm not an
I'm just
expert
pointing out maybe
either.
the concern that could be of being clay and not having a liner. And I, again, don't know. I'm just saying that could be.
Yeah, I think the existing pond has given us a very good feel for what to expect. And but again, that's us. So we have to find a fire suppression engineer that can tell us that we're right,
Agreed. Someone who's an expert. That's not me.
an expert, an expert.
Glenn, I think you know where you got to be. We can't really take action until we get this fire suppression system resolved. So I know Labella's pretty much good with everything else. So
Good.
when you've been able to resolve that issue or clarify things for the fire marshal, then
Would this board issue a conditional approval if we had not yet received comments from the Department of Health and resolved any minor comments they might have?
we've done conditional approvals in the past. This one, I think, would be a big, the fire marshal himself is, those comments, I don't know if that would be a conditional approval, because that could change your whole site plan. So, in terms of grading.
Relative to the wastewater system, it's not uncommon for the boards, given the situation at DOH, to put that off to the C of O and not
That'd be fine.
not issue a C of O. Several towns I work with have
Yeah.
adopted that because of the backlog, I'll call it, at DOH.
Does that help?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd
Okay.
work.
All
So we
right.
still have to resolve issues with the fire marshal, and we just don't know how long it's going to take DOH.
Once it's
to-
resolved, call Lisa and say, hey, I'm all set, and we'll put you back on and
Okay,
get you through.
all right.
All right?
It won't be me, it'll be the fire suppression engineer. Thank you.
Protection.
Glenn. We do have a public hearing, Centola site plan, Baker Road, owner Ronald and Susan Centola, applicants requesting approval to construct a single-family home on 2 acres. This was part of the Vincent subdivision in 2024, and I think we saw this once before, so,
Yes.
good evening.
I'm David Cox with Cox Engineering, civil engineer for the project. So Baker Road, it's a little over 2 acres. It's in the residential 2 zoning district. It's going to be a single-family home that's a 1-story with a walkout. So we did Labella did witness the perk test for the septic, so that is good. We did go to the ZBA. There is a federal wetland on the property, and per town law, if you're have impervious surface within 100 feet, you need a variance for that. So we did receive the variance from the ZBA. For that, one of the things that the ZBA did request is to put a swale downstream of the house in between the wetland and the house and the driveway to capture any impervious surface runoff. Would go into that swale and divert it around the wetland, so there wouldn't be any contaminated drainage flowing towards that wetland. So that was their one condition, which I made that adjustment and submitted those plans to address that. And then to date, all other comments have been addressed. I think that's about it.
Okay. Start at the other end of the table, I guess. Trish, any questions regarding the site plan?
No.
Okay. Scott?
Site distance at the driveway, is that adequate?
So it's a little bit less to the south because there's an intersection there. So I went out there and I walked the entire road up and down and put the driveway at essentially the best location that it could go. I'm obviously dealing with that wetland there, so I can't cross the wetland. And then just to the north or the top of the page, it kind of goes around a bend, which you start to lose sight distance. So it was a little bit of a balancing game of keeping it, farther away from the intersection, but also taking into account that bend that's at the top of the page. So I pretty much put it at the best location that's the best balance for sight distance. And there is the neighbor directly to the right on the screen. Their driveway comes out in a very similar point as well. So to my knowledge, there hasn't been any known issues with that driveway location. So having them come out at a similar location is also beneficial.
Wes, was that part of your review? Did you take a look at that?
Yeah, we've taken a look at site distances. Yeah, I think you're a little short based on the intersection.
Right.
Right, with Baker Road and Valentine.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. So I think we would need to just document the potential waiver there if the planning board is so inclined to provide that. I do have a couple other questions for the applicant, not related to site distance, so I'll just.
That's all I have.
Yeah, it does show, right, actual is 270 feet to the intersection, so what's required is 445 at 40 miles an hour. They're going to be accelerating from the intersection, so it's not like it's through traffic.
Decelerating and going the other way.
And the other way
Right.
decelerating, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a T intersection, so it's not a
Yeah.
through, so.
Right, so I
And
think
that's-
it's a candidate for a waiver.
Okay, that was, I guess, my point.
What impact does the grade have? Because certainly coming up the hill from Valentine Road, they're not going to be hitting 45 unless they're really stepping on it. And coming down the hill, if they're not on the brakes by that point, they're going to have problems at the intersection anyways.
That's a
So I
good,
think a waiver probably would be a decent.
that's a good question. I've never seen slope related to site distance, unfortunately.
Oh.
In the published standards, ASHTO or anything else.
Well, does it affect braking distance? That would, then it would be
Probably does.
affecting sight distance, so.
Probably does.
But the left sight distance is 320 feet from the cars coming down the hill. And the required is 445 again, so, and they'll be braking
Mhm.
hopefully further in advance than otherwise because they're going down a pretty good grade on that road. So, okay, so Joe, questions? Other than that comment?
No, other than that, I'm looking at the rendering of the home on here. It's a good looking house. I think it's good for the site.
Mhm.
And I think if we can resolve the driveway issue and just a couple of the other Labella comments, I don't have any problem.
Okay, thanks. Al?
No, nothing to add.
I think this plan has a retaining wall. The last plan, I don't recall seeing one. Is that true?
Yes, yeah, we did add a retaining wall. The homeowner wanted a little bit of flat area in the back of their property.
So that's, I'm confident that was engineered,
Yes,
like it's a stone-strong system. I assume that, is that Lakeland's?
yeah, it's a,
Concrete?
yeah,
Okay.
big block.
Yeah, okay. Nice walls. No, I echo the comments from the other folks, and I think this is as good a site plan as you can get on, regarding the road and site distance and all that, and it'd be a nice location, so.
Sure.
Wes, questions, comments?
Yeah, I think our biggest concern right now is with regard to the retaining wall. You caught that, Joe. We see the detail for the cross-section with the mess, with the retaining wall, and we see the drain tile and the drainage at the base of the wall. I'm not quite sure where that's heading, the drainage for the wall, and also the amount of earth that's above the wall or on the back side of the wall. Do we have any information on the suitability of this particular wall to retain the earth back there, right? Given the investment of what appears to be a very nice home, I think we would want to be sure, have some assurances that that wall is appropriately designed. Is there any other information that you can provide as
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
applicant on this before a site plan is approved? Maybe some geotechnical information about the soils behind the wall and the suitability of the design?
Yep, I can certainly,
Let's see.
certainly do that. And it is, luckily it is more sandy soil,
Yeah,
so that's very helpful for the wall as well.
okay.
Is there a slope, a back slope from the top of the wall? It's depicted that way, but I don't know how
Yeah,
steep
there,
it is.
yeah, there is a slope on
You know
it.
what the grade is? Typically, you don't want to go like 1-on-3 or steeper is not a good thing for a retaining wall, but
Yeah, it is around there. And the Stone Strong is a very robust wall.
Yeah.
I use it on, usually much taller walls. I use the Stone Strong because it's about 4 feet thick. It's a massive block wall. So yeah, it's very robust, and it is for having the back slope. So it is designed for that.
Just out of curiosity, are you aware of are there other examples in Victor that you're aware of where this stone strong wall is used?
In Victor, I can.
You don't
rack
have
my
to
brain.
research it. I was just curious off the top of your head if you knew of any place where.
Not
Okay.
coming to mind, but
Okay. The area of disturbance is increased on this particular plan, not by much, like
Right.
not even 1/10 of an acre, so you're still under an acre of disturbance. And I think that's probably it. We do have to update our comment letter. I think the majority of the comments that you've addressed, the septic, that's not an alternative system, is it?
no.
Oh, okay. So I think we're okay.
okay, thanks,
Yeah.
Wes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've designed a few of those walls, stone strong walls and similar ones. This is a nice size system.
It's a gravity
Good
wall.
gravity wall, yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't even use tensar or tiebacks, so soil reinforcement. I assume you don't need the soil reinforcement for this wall.
Pretty much, they're good to almost 12 feet before
Yeah.
you need the tiebacks.
Mhm.
What's the maximum height here? About 7,
7.5, I think.
7.5 feet?
Yeah, that's, you can touch the top of the wall from, it's,
Which way is the drainage headed at the base of the wall? Is it going north?
Yeah,
south?
most of it goes north.
it looks like it goes southeast on the plan from the end of the wall,
Well, it depends. So
from the south end of the wall, let's put that way.
everything behind the house goes north. Everything kind of south of the house goes south.
Oh, I see. Yeah, the front of between the house and the wall, you've
The
got
swale
that,
between the house
Yeah.
and the wall.
Yeah.
right? Okay. I was just looking at the end of the wall on the south end, you've got a swale, got some stone, permanent, check dams. So, okay, this is a public hearing, it's open. Is there anyone from the public that have any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. I don't think we had a resolution for this, so where are we with it? Okay. All right, so, yeah, once we get the comments from Labella satisfied, detail or retaining wall? Or something else by this?
Yeah, we'll have to spell out the waiver in the resolution for the site distance
Mm-hmm.
and just verify that things are okay with section 55 or chapter 55 of the town code, the excess management. So I think otherwise we'll be set. So we meet again in 2 weeks, I think. Is that right?
13th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. We're all set.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Timberview Estates Subdivision, Klein Road, owner Polidori and Ferry Custom Homes. I think it's a sketch plan review.
Good evening, everyone. John Sharaba with Land Tech here on behalf of Polidori and Ferry Homes. Karen Polidori is here tonight, and we're not going to let her speak. That's what we told. So,
She looks disappointed.
Yeah. So appreciate the time this evening to continue our sketch plan conversation. Hard to believe that we were here back in April 14th, so it's been quite a bit of time. I'd like to thank the town staff for putting together a joint meeting that we had with the town of Farmington Planning Staff, Planning Board, Director of Planning, to kind of go over the issues related to this project, which I think at that time, I called it a chicken or the egg. What are we going to do here? Who's going to approve this? How are we going to get this started? So, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your efforts on that, and Lisa as well. So we had that meeting, and we had kind of a clear direction. So we're starting with Farmington. We made a sketch plan application to the town of Farmington for a one-lot site plan. That consists of that 1.7 acre parcel of land that's independent of the project. It's a standalone tax parcel, and is solely in the town of Farmington. We met on June 3rd, went through comments related to sketch plan, and basically the comments were kind of consistent to what this board talked about the application, site distance, what about school buses, things like that, and we kind of worked through it with the board, and they are asking us to move forward. So they understood the issues at hand. They fully realized that the driveway is going to continue on into the Victor. The highway superintendent of the town of Farmington had his concerns, wants to know, a lot of his are who's going to maintain the driveway, how it's going to get plowed, make sure there's an awareness on their end as things get constructed and built. So we'll continue to work with Farmington. We completed soil testing for the leach field, so we're kind of poised to get back into Farmington with that site plan. So that now, and related to that site plan, the house and everything on is in Farmington. So now we're looking at a 9-lot subdivision in the town of Victor that we're asking for and talking about this evening, where it was last time a 10-lot subdivision. As your board may recall, we have 2 private driveways. We call it the North Private Drive that has 5 lots on it. And then we have the Southern Private Drive, which kind of goes up the hill and access those lots. So that's really where we are. We want to get this approval and direction ratified by the sketch plan approval. We fully understand that this is a major subdivision. And I think that I agree with Mr. Harder, and we could talk to Wes about this evening, that we do want to check that box, that this will be a cluster subdivision. I think the benefits to the town with the decreased infrastructure, the open space, will help this project and give this board more teeth to make any kind of action on the planning resolution. It'll also help us and negate us having to go to the zoning board for a variance related to the driveways that we're proposing. So that's kind of where we are. We are looking forward to get sketch plan and then get into our design mode and come back to the board with a full application. And that's all I have for you this evening.
Okay, we did receive some correspondence from, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, from a neighbor group, I believe, Klein Road, Fred and Linda Armstrong.
Do you have a copy?
Yes.
J.W. Warwick and Niels Tygeson, Derek and Margaret Brown, and Patricia Axsmith Tavaletti. Sorry, I'm not, I hope I don't butcher anybody's name. And Wes, I know you just got it as well. Have you looked at any of it yet?
Yeah, I've looked at the letter, looked at the concerns, right? They seem to be calling out some of the New York State statutes with planning and zoning, as well as the local legislation as well, right? Calling out the details of what's supposed to be, what should be submitted, and if lots aren't in compliance with the dimensional requirements, then the applicant would need to approach the Zoning Board of Appeals for variances, to have those, for the ZBA to consider whether to allow for the lots that don't meet the particular dimensional standards. So understate, right? This is all relevant information as it relates to subdivision regulations and subdivision processes in the town of Victor, right? So, and as we know, or as the planning board knows, and maybe the public also is aware, the major subdivision process in the town of Victor is a 3-step process, right? There's a sketch plan. The step 1 is the sketch plan review. And that's is even articulated in the town code. Sketch plat, a concept plat which has limited information about the proposed subdivision and is used for discussion purposes, right, between the applicant, the property owner, and the planning board. So the purpose of the sketch plat is to provide the subdivider with an opportunity to consult early and informally with the planning board in order to save time and money to come to an understanding as to the most desirable design given the site constraints and development requirements of the town. Right, so that's the purpose of the subdivision and of the sketch plat. So there are standards with also in the or there are requirements noted in the design and construction standards as to what should be submitted, right? And the sketch plan is intended to be a tool where the applicant doesn't have to invest a large amount of money in the design, the formal engineering, and surveying and details of the design, right? It's really a conceptual layout, and an approval of a sketch plat is not we're not really approving the plan, right? You're approving that the information has been submitted. There's been a conversation between the applicant and the planning board as to, you know, the potential best approach to move forward with a subdivision, right? So that's step one. Step two is the preliminary plan review. That's where the heavy meat and potatoes of the design and the review happens. And that's also where the planning board addresses seeker, the environmental review component of the subdivision. And then step three is the final subdivision review, which is crossing the T's, dotting the I's, as you know. So there's this three-step process. We're in step one. We're not approving a plan at this stage. We're just saying that the sketch plan application or the sketch plat conference has been completed, right? The informal conversations, the back and forth. And this project has been before the planning board before. Was it maybe a year ago or so that you guys were in front of the planning board with a more robust plan?
Correct, 24
right?
lots, yes.
Potential town-dedicated road that came before the planning board, right? So as a result of that consultation, that was part of the sketch plat process too, step one. So there's been some back and forth. There's been these informal dialogues that have gone on between the applicant and the planning board. And as a result of that dialogue, you've come back again earlier this year, I think maybe, as you said, might have been April, with a much a less dense design, right? A design that probably taxes the community less than what the project would have done a year ago. So, you know, I see the concerns in here in this letter, and I'm not saying that we need to dismiss them. We don't need to dismiss them, but I believe, and I respectively would conclude that the planning board has done its job through the sketch plan review process. And I think the one question that maybe has to be answered is whether or not the planning board wants to consider this a clustered subdivision, where the planning board has the ability to reduce the dimensional requirements in certain circumstances that would result in avoiding the need to go to the ZBA, as the applicant has articulated. All right.
So that kind of is related to my question, is which comes first, given your characterization of the first step that we're in now, saving, you know, time and effort on the developer's part. If the ZBA says they don't like the 5 houses on the private drives, there's an added expense. So which comes first, the ZBA or the planning board, or it becomes moot if we decide that there's a clustered subdivision?
Fair question. So my first response is that in general, there's a standard that was called out in here in the town code that says no more than 3 lots are allowed to be on a common or a shared driveway. It's also in the design and construction standards. So this board has the ability, and in the past has provided waivers to that requirement, where maybe 4, there's been also 5 lots. There's been examples of 5 lots that have been afforded that opportunity to share a common driveway, this planning board has provided that quote-unquote relief, right? Because it's in the design and construction standards. And the section of code, I think it might be 21148, I can double-check that, gives the planning board that ability to provide that waiver. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Could I just chime in for a second?
Yes, sir.
We did a clustered subdivision there on Willis Hill Road for, is it Woodstone? Is that who it was that built up there? And in that particular case, we took a big chunk of land, instead of tearing up a big chunk of land with a, excuse me, with a conventional subdivision, you know, they clustered everything in kind of a cobblestone creek type of way, compacting it and leaving a lot of open space around it. I think, you know, the clustering provision gives the developer the versatility to use the lay of the land to the best of their ability and in an environmentally smart way. We've seen other plans come through here with a lot more density. I think they've proven that they can get a lot more lots in here, so I think they qualify in terms of the basic math, if you will, that they could get this yield potentially out of the property, but they're going with this yield and using, in my opinion, the land in a pretty smart way. They've also learned a lot along the way, too, because I see that the wetlands have changed since I first looked at this project. They seem to have grown a little bit since the last time I saw this plan. So what you're showing me is smart in terms of avoiding the wetlands as well. That's, in my book, that meets all the criteria. That checks all the boxes for a clustered subdivision. And what's unusual about this one is we usually see a whole bunch of houses in the center, right?
Right.
And they're all squeezed together, kind of like the Morel one that we're looking at too, right? I'm not sure if is that a cluster too? I think maybe it is. But in this particular case, we're kind of spreading it out a little bit. But I think that's to be expected on this particular piece of property. So I think that's the way we should do it. And it makes it so much simpler for the town and the developer, or the applicant, everybody, that you don't have to go for this variance and that variance. It's really up to the planning board to look at the dimensional variables and say, does this make sense? Does this work? And stay away from the cookie cutter form that we see so often. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. Trish? Comments, questions?
Well, sounds like a lot of wisdom what Scott just mentioned. I mean, it's true. You see some of these plans where everything's on top of each other, and this is really laid out nicely. And there is a lot of, obviously, complication environmentally on this land. So I think I echo what Scott said. I think it sounds like a good plan.
This one is a little bit different than the Woodstone one in that it's a private driveway. It's not a dedicated road with 27 homes on it or 25 or something on that order of magnitude. There's very low density being proposed here, certainly much lower impact, and it puts houses where you're not really disturbing a lot of the environmentally sensitive areas, if any. So I think it's definitely to be an appealing subdivision.
I wanted to also mention that I, maybe because I had too much time on my hands, I took a look at the Town of Farmington YouTube video the other night.
Yeah, I watched it last night.
When you're really bored, go watch that.
Yeah, right.
But I was curious to know how they behave, because I've appeared before Farmington as well, and just my natural curiosity came to mind, and so they seem to feel, correct me if I'm wrong, that if you showed a private drive going through a lot on which a house was proposed, that would then be okay with them, and they wanted a sign for school buses to pick up the school children.
Right.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect when I played that YouTube video, but that's all I was able to really get out of it.
I think that what I got out of it, and I didn't do the presentation, an associate of mine did, but is when Farmington saw that the house was solely in the town of Farmington, and I think it's like that's their tax money. And I think that, so that's what they're happy about. They said, okay, the rest of the stuff will work out. We're gonna get,
Yeah.
you know, $1 million house, and they're gonna get that revenue, and then we'll let the rest go. So we're gonna continue to work with them, on that site plan, and, you know, when I say work with them, you know, the site plan is gonna be approved with this private drive with numerous other houses coming through it, so the school bus, the mailbox, stuff like that, we wanna make sure that we can detail for them and you in the future.
Yeah, and I thought that was a good solution, is the pull-off for the school bus at the bottom of the 5 homes, southerly parcels, I guess. I don't see one for the northerly parcels, but there's probably not a sight distance issue for those as much. But it's a long driveway to
Yeah.
that one house on lot 5, is it? So,
But we're willing to explore that as well for that driveway. That was just been our focus,
Sure.
you know, going Farmington.
Yeah,
And now we
Farmington,
can just deal with,
yeah.
if the highway superintendent feels that warrants on that, we can work that in.
So can we talk about the school bus pull-off? You're actually proposing the school bus pulls off the road or into a,
well, there's a widened section of pavement, like you would bypass.
there's nothing like that.
I think what we're proposing is
Projector
probably a mom that drives down with her SUV has a spot to wait for the bus for their kids, more than the bus moving over and.
Okay, that's, I wanted to
So I think
clarify.
that's,
Yeah. Yeah, Joe's got a lot more experience with this than.
yeah, I don't think
most
we're
of
gonna
us.
ask the bus to come off the road.
Yeah, no, definitely not that. So, but it does provide some relief pavement, you know, for the kids. I think at one point, I don't know if Morrow suggested it or whatever, but a little hut or something for the kids
Yeah.
at the
I mean,
bottom. He said, oh, that might be a good idea, so.
Yeah,
We'll see,
I think we'll get Karen on marketing for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I see the location where you have the private bus stop. Is that gonna also include like an area for a parent if they wanted to kind of stay there with their car?
I think that's what it really
Yeah.
intended. We'll have a little paved area, so if they want to bring their kid down, wait for the bus with them.
Right, because I
And
wouldn't
so
want
they're
them
not
all just
parked
be
in the
dropped
road.
off and drive away and leave all the kids there, but like,
Right.
so if a parent wanted to stay, especially younger kids, it would be enough space, you think, that they could.
Correct. Yeah, we'll work through the details on that with a better detailed drawing blown up to good scale, so we can work on that together.
So can I get back to Wes? I'm still a little concerned about this letter with the requirements for the engineer's preliminary report, the drainage study map, and the schematic of the sewage that the residents submitted. I'm still unclear
Whether we have that?
and if it's required, and if we have it, sure.
Yeah. I think to the degree that we need for sketch plan, right, the updated map that you've provided, it kind of shows us a schematic of the drainage, right? We see the potential location of the stormwater management facilities. We also see the potential arrangement and configuration of the septic systems, right? The leach fields and the leach lines, how they'll be configured. There's likely going to be some refinement, right? Because they haven't gone into deep design on this, but I think we also have the information, the perk test results that you've done. Some of them you did several years ago. How recently have you done perk tests? You did one for the one in Farmington?
So all the perk tests were witnessed by your office. So they're, in my opinion, even though they were several years ago, they are historic and in good standing.
Yeah.
We just did perk tests today, actually, in Farmington. It was a 19-minute perk, 12 inches of topsoil, fairly good soils. But, you know, that's kind of, I think we've done, you know, so at this point, 25 test perk sites that have been witnessed by the town, and now we're only looking for 9 lots.
Yeah.
So I think we've got the soil condition very well documented.
Okay. So I've got the submission requirements open for sketch plans for major subdivisions, and we've got the plan side, or we got the plans, we got the scale, we got the name and title of the project, name and address of subdivider, aerial photographs, we've got contours, right, for the parcel and parcels adjacent to the tract. We've got pertinent topographic features within the site and adjoining tract, including existing buildings, water courses, water bodies, swamps, wooded areas, features to be retained and removed, names of owners of adjacent land, location, let's see, water distribution system, I recall, these are going to be on, are these on wells?
Water main.
Water main, okay. So I think we even have a schematic of that if I have my.
Maybe not on Plan Your C, but their previous plans have had, proposed water main.
Was that shown on the April submission, do you remember?
I believe so. It's probably not much more than this,
Yeah.
but it's going to be connecting to public water for both.
Yeah, we know where your connection's gonna be, if we're not doing well water. The sanitary sewer system, so it does say here for the sanitary sewer system, engineer's preliminary report on soil and groundwater conditions as specified in section 263, based on percolation and deep hole tests, pit results. Percolation tests and deep test pit data must be provided in number and locations such that at least one perk test and deep test pit is located within a 200-foot radius of each on-site sewage disposal system. So again, we do have that data. Labella has that data from when we witnessed the perk tests.
Well, as you said at the beginning, Wes, this isn't their first go at this site.
Right.
So there was a lot, and maybe the public isn't aware of that.
Right.
So I appreciate that you're going through all these requirements and what we have and what we've got history for. So it's not the first time we've seen this site.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be obstructionist.
No,
I want to make sure
we definitely want to address the public's concerns, and I'm trying to help clarify that from the board's perspective, not just Labella's perspective, so.
It's important to also recognize that more detailed information will be submitted on soils with an engineer's report, right? A full engineer's report with a preliminary subdivision application. So at this stage, I think it would be unreasonable and costly to ask an applicant to submit a full engineer's report at the sketch plan phase,
Yeah.
right? Because the design's going to change as part of the sketch plan review.
Right.
So we anticipate, and that stuff is going to be critical and informative when we go through the seeker process.
Chairman, just for your benefit, obviously there's a cohesive group of neighbors that probably live right directly across the street that don't want this project. I fully understand that. In my business, this happens all the time. My business model is if they want to contact me, if they want to work with the town, and I come down when we have a set of plans that I can review with them, right? These are just sketches at this point, titled why we're here tonight. I more than welcome talking to them offline in a meeting when we get plans more fully developed. So I'll make that promise to you and to them. But we can't provide them that data yet. We don't have it yet. So we're looking forward to get to that point to work and provide the documents that they're outlining in this. But I think that they took a section of code that they don't understand and putting it the cart before the horse.
Yeah, all four of these neighbors are like right across the
Oh,
street
sure.
from the SAMs, looking at your drawing, showing what not all of the neighbors have this.
I think they should also recognize, Mr. Polidori, we have a 5-acre site that we're willing to leave. And that's not Mr. Polidori's normal MO. So we got to, let's make sure they understand they're dancing a thin line. That's, it's just something that they got to realize. So that would be addressed in one of those meetings that I would hope to have with them, if they could set that up.
Well, there will be public hearings and the next phases of it, so I'm sure you'll get an opportunity to address it directly here in the
another
meeting.
detailed letter prior to this, if you do remember, that was submitted in April. So I'm willing to talk to them. They just, it's an allowed. So we're not asking for variances for our use, our lot sizes. We're actually way below our yield, and we're going to want to move through the planning process and work with the board. So.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yep.
Anything else from the board? Wes, we have a draft resolution for sketch plat completion. Not an approval of the project. It's a resolution that says that they've completed the information that they need for the sketch plat application. So I will go ahead and read that. There's no objection. So for Timberview Estates subdivision sketch Klein Road, whereas planning board made the following findings of fact, there are 8 of them. Now therefore be it resolved that regarding the sketch plan application of Polidori and Ferry Custom Homes, major subdivision entitled Timberview Estate subdivision drawn by Land Tech Surveying, dated October 7th, 2025, received by the planning board March 6th, 2026, last revised June 23rd, 2026. And I believe that was to move the house to the Farmington parcel, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I think Lisa sent it out, or an updated one from our original packet today or yesterday, was it? So we have it, yeah. Let's see, now therefore be resolved that regarding the sketch plan application, blah, 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 let's see. Planning Board Application 3 SK 2026, the Planning Board acknowledges receipt of a complete sketch plat application, and be it further resolved that the Planning Board Secretary forward a copy of this resolution to the applicant. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Al?
Second.
And Scott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0.
One clarification, if I can, as long as the board's consistent, and we're going to check the box for a cluster when we make our formal application. Thank you.
With me.
Right,
Great. Appreciate that.
all right, thank you.
Look forward to working with you on it.
We didn't check a box. I think the sentiment of that the clustering would be appropriate.
I want this to go to
Oh, that's a different.
my opportunity.
No,
No, I don't think,
your opportunity for what?
This
Just-
is 5 houses on a private
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That will be part of, yeah,
If we do a cluster, then it doesn't have to go to the ZBA.
Right, I want it to go to
I wanted to go to the ZBA.
well,
Wouldn't do a cluster. And you're saying a cluster wouldn't apply.
it needs a variance
the
anyway, I
second set
think.
of eyes on this, given the concerns.
Well, all I've heard is concerns that they didn't have enough information for a sketch plat application. I didn't hear concerns why they don't like the project.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
All I've heard is, in that letter, at least from skimming it and from hearing the things that Wes was able to present, is that their concern for the project is not detailed. It's all, maybe it's a concern, but they're saying, we don't think that the sketch plat application is complete.
It's complete.
So that's all they're saying in that letter. Now, they'll have plenty of comments in the public hearing phase of it, it sounds like. And at that point, I think we can, address them as well and discuss them. So,
Okay, so process-wise, I'm still, is it a cluster development?
It's a cluster development, you don't need the zoning board involved.
My question is it a cluster,
they're asking for a clustered subdivision.
have we given it to them?
Well, he's saying, he's expressed that he wants to. but-
I don't think the planning board has given approval of the clustering process. I think you've given an indication that if they submit a clustered subdivision preliminary application, I think you've given some indication that it could likely be accepted as such.
Okay.
Because we haven't approved, there was no approval of this sketch plan, right? The sketch plan process basically informs an applicant, here's the information that you should submit, so that you can have a useful conversation and back and forth with the planning board as to the general design and layout of the project. And in approving in stating in a resolution that they've completed the sketch plan process, I don't believe that gives, the all clear that, yes, this is a clustered subdivision.
That's what I'm trying to be clear on, is
Yeah.
how this process works.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's just been some indication that it could be a favorable way to go.
Potentially, sure.
And I think you'll find that there are hundreds of examples in the town of Victor of this particular application of
Sure. And
cluster.
the fact that, we've given 5 driveways or 5 homes on a driveway, now we're looking for twice that, right? This is
No,
2 drives, 5 each, yeah.
Oh.
So,
Wes, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, they do need to know whether it's cluster or not pretty quick, because they either need to go to the ZBA for the size of the lots or not.
Yeah, well, right, and in some of the frontage dimensions, right? There's
That's
a
what
there's a
yeah.
lot frontage requirement, And I guess if we're not going to consider it as a clustered subdivision, it would be to their advantage to know sooner than later that, hey, you should probably go to the ZBA and get variance.
You guys can't approve anything else, correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Without those variances if it's not a cluster.
Right?
Correct.
And it really only affects the northerly 5 lots, because the southerly 5 lots all have road frontage, although they're
Not in the town of Victor.
they're not in the town of Victor, yeah. It's in Farmington, so.
You know,
I think you got to look at some of the purpose and the objectives of the clustered subdivision, which are in Article 5 of the subdivision regulations, Section 184-18 and 184-19. And I don't know if you want to take a look at those now, but we can review them.
I'll take a look at them at home.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
Okay, anything else?
Some towns call it a conservation subdivision because it's used to best conserve the lands that are there, and the benefit to the developer, the applicant, is the dimensional relief that they get and the ability to design something that doesn't get a force fit, if you will,
Yeah.
from those dimensions that you're talking about.
Putting 5 houses on that drumlin.
Okay.
I'm done.
Just one other thing, we did talk about sidewalk sooner rather than.
Yes,
So the site walk, we are gonna do when they submit preliminary. Thought it would be best when they submit that, then you guys could go walk, and that would be fresh in your, instead of doing it now, and wait.
Yeah.
So if that's all right with you guys,
that's fine.
as soon as they submit the preliminary, I can reach out. That does bring me to Nova Rise.
Oh, yeah.
Reaching out to Conservation Board and you guys. Asking for dates that work for you guys, I think better
Is that for a site visit?
for Nova Rise, for Brownsville
Yeah.
Road, yep.
Yeah, sidewalk up there.
That one I'm trying to coordinate with Amber with the Conservation Board. The timber review is just you guys,
Yeah,
not Conservation.
okay. What, Nova Rise property, you're saying, or the other one?
I'm sorry?
You're talking Nova Rise or Timberview?
Timberview.
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's right. It's gorgeous.
yeah, we walked it. That's site planning board too. So,
So, yep, that one will be coming once they submit their preliminary. I'll reach out to you guys.
well, unless you want to keep talking. I don't hear anybody making a motion,
I'll
so,
move to adjourn.
okay.
I can,
All in favor? Aye. Okay, have a great evening, everyone.
Not a good short week, though, right? I mean, typically